Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something pretty incredible, the brand new Spring 2026 curriculum for MIT's Computer Systems Security course 6.566. Taught by Professor Nikolai Zeldovich, this recently published playlist gives us a literal front row seat to see exactly how top-tier students are being trained for tomorrow's digital battlegrounds.
So you got to ask yourself, what does it actually take to master cybersecurity right now? We all know the landscape of digital threats is shifting practically every single day, right? Academic institutions really have to sprint just to keep pace. Well, by looking at the structure and the actual viewer engagement data of this 19-lecture syllabus, we're going to reverse engineer exactly which concepts are deemed absolutely crucial for fighting off future threats. And just to put the global interest in this into perspective, Lecture 1 racked up a staggering 1,500 views in just 2 days. That's huge! It shows that people all over the world, not just MIT students sitting in Cambridge, are actively hunting down this rigorous material. Because honestly, we all need to figure out how to lock down our increasingly vulnerable digital infrastructure.
To make sense of the whole playlist, we've organized things into 5 core modules: Introduction to the course, Foundations of System Isolation, Web and Network Defense, Authentication and Secure Channels, and finally, Emerging Advanced Security Threats.
All right, let's jump into Module 1, Introduction to MIT 6.566.
If you're a student, or honestly even just an ambitious self-learner, you're looking at a deeply rigorous setup here. Led by Professor Nikolai Zeldovich, this spring 2026 curriculum packs in 19 comprehensive video lectures. And these aren't short clips either. Each session runs about an hour and 20 to an hour and 30 minutes long. So you're looking at nearly 30 hours of dense, high-level MIT instruction.
Moving right along, we hit Module 2, Foundations of System Isolation. Now, this is where the course brilliantly stacks foundational concepts right from the ground up. In Lecture 2, students dive into operating system and virtual machine isolation. From there, Lecture 3 tackles software fault isolation, which is basically how you keep a bug in one single program from taking down the entire computer. Then, in Lecture 4, they get into trusted hardware, and finally wrap up this section with privilege separation in Lecture 5, making sure users only have access to exactly what they need. It is quite literally a masterclass in layered defense.
But here is where it gets super interesting. When we look at the viewer data, we see a classic academic reality check. Remember those 1,500 people who watched the intro? Well, the second the complex math and isolation theories kick in during Lecture 2, views drop to 203. And by Lecture 3, we are down to just 74 dedicated learners who survived that initial syllabus shock as the real intellectual heavy lifting begins.
Okay, so once the local system is secured, we expand outward into Module 3, Web and Network Defense.
The curriculum here takes a really logical step outward from the micro to the macro. First up, Lecture 6 teaches students how to defend massive data centers. Then, in Lecture 8, they tackle the web security model, the protocols connecting us all. And finally, they zoom all the way out to global network security in Lecture 12. Because let's face it, modern security isn't just about protecting one laptop anymore, it's about securing the massive, invisible pipes routing all the world's data.
Which brings us to Module 4, Authentication and Secure Channels.
Now, this cluster of lectures is absolutely vital for modern digital life. It's basically the mechanics of trust. It starts with secure channels and user authentication and introduces certificates in Lecture 14. This entire module is all about how we prove we are who we say we are online and how we keep those proofs totally hidden from prying eyes, eventually leading all the way up to anonymous communication in Lecture 20.
Now, I really want to focus in on something fascinating here. Notice this distinct spike in the viewer data. Lecture 14, which is focused entirely on certificates, suddenly jumped up to 89 views. In a playlist where viewership usually just drops off steadily, this mid-semester bump is a massive signal. It tells us something absolutely crucial. Certificates are essentially the non-negotiable digital passports of the entire web. Whether you're a developer building a complex app, or you're just trying to secure a basic everyday website, truly understanding this underlying certificate infrastructure isn't just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute necessity. And the audience data, that sudden spike in viewership, directly reflects that intense, real-world demand to master certificates.
Finally, let's head to the absolute edge of the frontier with Module 5, Emerging Advanced Security Threats. This part of the course perfectly showcases the massive historical span we're dealing with. On the left, you've got Lecture 9 teaching defenses against buffer overflows, which, is a classic decades-old memory exploit. But then, bridging directly from that history,
Lecture 17 pivots to AI agent security. So MIT students are literally being equipped to handle both legacy vulnerabilities from the 90s and the bleeding-edge automated threats that the tech industry is honestly only just starting to wrap its head around today.
And because these modern issues are so highly specialized, Professor Seldovich actually brings in specific guest experts straight into the classroom. It's a really cool approach. We see Russ Cox stepping in to teach supply chain security in Lecture 11. Then Max Krohn handles decentralized key management in Lecture 16. And Anish Uthalye leads the charge on that highly anticipated AI agent security topic in Lecture 17.
Unsurprisingly, the public demand for these modern topics is just explosive. While the Decentralized Keys lecture sat at about 29 views after 3 days, that AI Agent Security lecture captured 136 views in a mere 14 hours. Think about that. It just perfectly illustrates the intense, almost immediate anxiety the tech community has right now regarding artificial intelligence and security.
So from locking down the actual physical hardware you type on, to securing massive web infrastructure, all the way to defending against autonomous AI agents, this syllabus is, without a doubt, a true masterclass in modern defense. By breaking down this playlist, we've gotten a really clear look at exactly what the frontier of cybersecurity education is right now, which leaves us with one final exciting question for you. If you could walk into that classroom right now and grab a seat, which MIT security lecture would you attend?